All right, nice to be here, and we're taking a look at a tune called Blue Bossa, and and I thought it might be a good idea to explore how the melody and the chords fit together on the fretboard. So first of all, when you learn the melody, especially in a tune like, well, no, in any tune, but when you learn the melody, the first thing you should get underneath your fingers are the scales that are related to the melody. So in this case, the scales that are related to the melody are the C natural minor, or being, the Aeolian mode, and the D flat major. Okay, so those two scales. And we're just going to sort of hang around here because we can get, for now, because we can get all the notes of the melody, right underneath our fingers there, right? And what I'd like to talk about is how to start putting that melody on the fretboard with some chord sounds at the same time, without necessarily building a full-on solo, chord melody solo. In other words, something that can more clearly define your comping, right? So that you've got references to the melody, but it's not necessarily a solo guitar part. Solo guitar parts take longer to learn. I mean, they take a while to learn, unless you're Joe Pass, or someone like monstrous. They, yeah. It takes more time to learn. I mean, it'll take you less time once you learned, 100 or so, but it still takes me a little bit of time to work out a chord melody. But what I want to do today is just see where the melody falls when you change these chords, right? So as we can see, the melody at the beginning. Right, and I know that underneath that melody, I've got this chord of C minor. Okay, so cool. So how can I maybe imply the chord and the melody? How about, that's pretty simple, right? I've got this barred C minor, and I've got the octave melody note at the beginning of measure one, right underneath my fingers on the right on the chord, and then I can fall. Okay, so it would be sort of nice to have a chord there, and the only way, well, it's probably not the only way, but where I would go is to do an inversion of the C minor, right? So that's an inversion of the C minor chord. So now if they take watch, there we go, right? That's pretty straightforward. And then down to the F minor. So this I would just sort of tend to avoid. Like, this is more of a quick approach, right? Because it's so much, it'll be so thick and heavy down here, to play that A flat, and get notes below it. So I wouldn't bother. But here, that works nice, and it's just another inversion of an F minor chord, right? It's a first inversion, a second inversion, I'm sorry, of, no, first inversion. What's wrong with me? Of an F minor. Okay, so nice, simple little chord form, right? And so now we've got, there there's that inversion of the C minor, and then the F minor. Now, before we move on, I should mention that blue bossa is a bit of a trick in terms of where it sits in the overall register. Like it gets a little heavy down here in this key, but when you move up, you know, I mean, up there, that starts to get in, you know, into space, right? Which is cool. I mean, we will work that out at a later point. But when you're comping for someone, and this is where we're sort of leading. I'm not trying to show you one way to play a tune, right? Like follow my finger, kind of, you know, paint by fingers. What I'm trying hey, that was pretty good. I'm going to keep that. What I'm trying to show you is how to break down a tune and how to make it musical as quickly as possible, right? And since the guitar isn't just a melodic instrument, it's not a single note line instrument, right? It's not like a trumpet. The guitar, you will very often be put in a position of playing the melody, or just playing the chords, right? So either you're playing just the melody, or you're comping for someone else and playing just the chords, and they're playing the melody, right? You're always playing with the basic elements of music, you know, rhythm, melody, harmony, form, etc. And so when you get to a, you know, working up a chord melody, there's a difference between doing a quick representation of, you know, like we're doing right now, a nice quick representation of, you know, oh, here's the melody and here's my chords in this position, you know, as opposed to working up all by yourself chord melody. That can take hours and hours and hours to do that, right? And that's cool, you know, that's cool if you want to do that. And the guitar obviously lends itself beautifully to doing that. But this has got more to do with, hey, you know, let's come and play with me. I'm a trumpet player. I'm a drummer. I'm a stand-up player, and we really need a guitar player. And so it's like, oh wow, that sounds like fun. Here's a song. This is the first time you've ever seen it, right? That's what this is about. How do I make this sound really pretty good, pretty quick? All right. So let's get back to this. So we have, there's that inversion of the C minor chord. There's a nice inversion of the F minor chord. And then all we do is add this D to make it a D minor 7, because we've already got our melody up here. Now, it would be nice to put a chord there, but it's going to start getting too heavy when you get down to the bottom, right? So I just do a double stop, right? And I'm just adding the root of the G7 chord, right? So now that C minor 7 is, I'm just using my pick to just stop, to chop out the notes that I want, right? I can't go all the way to the top, right? Because that gives me a melody note on the top that I don't want right now. I want, in the C minor, I want the melody note of E flat. Okay. All right, so here's what we've got so far, starting with the pickup. Inversion of the C minor chord. And then the F minor in first inversion. And then adding that D to make it a D minor 7 flat 5. And then a double stop to make it, you know, just fill it out a bit. And then this chord we only attack up to the second string. C minor 7 with the third on the second string. And then we go from that third on the second string. We need an E flat minor now. Or you might be able to finger it like this. Okay. So again. So that's down to that A flat, and then getting a note below that is you could add the 3 on the bottom, but you can see how muddy that sort of becomes, right? And then the little, and you can, another thing you can do too is you can always state the melody a little bit. And then drop in a chord as well, as long as as again, remember that this is sort of a quick approach to chord melody. And then so here we have on the D minor 7 flat 5. So I could grab that flat 5 if I want, or even the root in the flat 5. That sounds pretty good. Then we want to repeat that same melody note. And now I'm just putting a G below it. So we mean. All right. So basically, it's like taking the chords that you're using for comping. And finding where those melody notes are, right? So you can very clearly, when I play through, and if you have that melody in your head, and you're comping like that, you can hear the melody already. So this is like it's an addition to learning how to comp over a tune. And the players that you play with will appreciate it, because you know where the melody is. You can double up bits of the melody with the other players in the ensemble, and you sort of generally know where you're at a little bit more. You're a little bit more anchored in the tune rather than just learning the chords or just learning the melody. Well, that wouldn't be too effective. So again, learn the melody as one thing you do. Learn the chords and be able to comp through the chords, keeping the melody in mind, and then start to reference the melody with the chords that you're playing in the way that we just did. And as I mentioned, in this tune, specifically this tune, in this key, getting notes that are below the melody or will sometimes get a little bit on the muddy side. And so, bringing it up an octave is a possibility. Okay, but it'll be way up there. All right, so I hope that was a help. And if it was, let us know. Subscribe, or just like and ask any questions that you might have, because we really like answering questions, especially when they've got to do with jazz tunes. Good. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon.